Welcome to Chapter 1, Introduction to Project Management. Our first subtopic today is the general view of a project. Let's begin with the most important question for this chapter. What is a project? Is it food? Is it a building? Absolutely no. We constantly hear managers and politicians say, I have a new project, or, team, we have a big project to fulfill. So, what is the exact definition of a project? Referring to the project management body of knowledge, called PMBOK, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to produce a unique product or service. It is something extremely useful for people that want to accomplish their future idea. A project must be temporary in that it has a defined beginning and end in time, and therefore defined scope and resources. And a project is unique in that it is not a routine operation, but a specific set of operations designed to accomplish a singular goal. All projects have three interrelated objectives that depend on each other, also known as a constraint, which are time, scope and cost, or budget. Let's break down some terms. First, we have time. This refers to the project being a temporary initiative. The project must have a specific start and end date. Projects, on the other hand, have a strict expiry date. Special tools and techniques used are Gantt charts, network diagrams, critical path analysis, and critical chain scheduling. Then, there is a specific scope or goal that needs to be achieved in the project, something like the output or outcome of the project. The scope will generate deliverables that satisfy the client. This outcome can be a product, service, or result. We can use project charter, scope statement, and work breakdown structure, WBS, as scope tools in project management. WBS definition is a deliverable-oriented hierarchical decomposition of the work to be executed by the project team to accomplish the project objectives and create the required deliverables. It organizes and defines the total scope of the project. The third key attribute is cost, that used to meet the budget limit. It is usually can be managed using cost estimates and earned value management. Successful project management means meeting all three goals: scope, time and cost, and satisfying the project's sponsor. In projects, sometimes we have a project mega, also known as a major program. Project mega are large-scale, complex ventures that typically cost $1 billion or more, take many years to develop and build, involve multiple and impact millions of people. Project mega requires care in the project development process to reduce any possible optimism bias and strategic misrepresentation. Examples of megaprojects include bridges, tunnels, highways, railways, airports, seaports, power plants, dams, wastewater projects, special economic zones, SEZ, oil and natural gas extraction projects, public buildings, information technology systems, aerospace projects, weapons systems, huge charity campaign. Settled with the project, and now we go into more details. What is a project management? Inside the project, there is project management. Referring to PMBOK, project management is the application of skills, knowledge, tools, and techniques to meet the needs and expectations of stakeholders for a project. The purpose of project management is prediction and prevention, not recognition and reaction. This is the project management framework. A framework is a particular set of ideas or structures. The project management framework consists of 10 knowledge areas including project integration, scope, time, cost, quality, human resource, communications, risk, procurement, and stakeholder management. Project managers must have knowledge and skills in all 10 knowledge areas. There are 5 concepts of project management. First, we have management, which is the process of planning, organizing, controlling, and measuring. Second is planning. It is the most critical part and gets the least amount of our time. Third is organizing. Number 4, we have controlling. It is also critical part if we are to use our limited resources wisely. And lastly, we have measuring, that is used to determine if we accomplished the goal or met the target. Project manager will supervise every task that takes a project toward completion. So, its ultimate success or failure is dependent on the competency or skills of the project manager. The nature of the role of a project manager makes it essential for her to have good negotiation skills. There are usually many stakeholders involved in a project, and most projects have team members from different departments. This usually results in several different points of view, which can sometimes make it difficult to keep the project on track and within the original scope. Negotiation skills help a project manager by reaching an agreement or a compromise of some kind on the issue that may be causing a problem or delay. Skilled negotiators have the ability to manage the situation so that all parties involved feel as though they had a say that was taken into consideration. In real life, we have three types of negotiations: either win-win, win-lose, or lose-lose. In project management, it can be either win-win, means both parties get the advantages, or win-lose, which means only one party comes out ahead. Successful win-win negotiation often involves taking a synergistic approach by searching for the third alternative. A simple example of a win-win is when you like the chips and your friend likes the burger, so she trades you her chips for your burger. Designating or of a situation, solution, etc. That is a compromise benefiting all parties involved. Before we go further, is there any difference between general management and project management? Basically, the two disciplines overlap with each other. General management generally will encompass planning, organizing, staffing, executing and controlling, but it is more applicable to operations of the ongoing enterprise. Project management is more specific to the implementation of a change, a project, which is unique and temporary with a finite start and finish time and has all the attendant problems and risks associated with it. Now we move to the third subtopic, which is the life cycles of project, or the simple term used is PLC. PLC normally involves 4 levels of phases starting with defining, planning, executing, and closing phases. PLC is a collection of generally sequential project phases whose name and number are determined by the control needs of the organization or organizations involved in the project. As mentioned, PLC involves 4 phases that will measure project completion through the function of time, or schedule, and resources, with budget or cost. At the beginning of defining phase, we need to define and have a project goal. This phase typically begins with setting goals and project objectives. 2 of the most popular methods for setting goals are SMART and CLEAR methods. Second step of PLC is the planning phase. Detailed plans for activity, finance, and resources that are developed and integrated into the quality parameters. The third phase is executing. This is the phase where deliverables are developed and completed, and also measuring project progression and performance, as well as ensuring that everything happening aligns with the project management plan. The final phase is closing. This phase represents the completed project. The demands and needs would require the project to proposing using a project proposal. The project owner needs to put attention to the higher management to compete with the limited resources of the organization. Then the management will then review the project and decide which one to execute. This process is referred to as the project selection. Project selection can be defined as the process of evaluating individual projects or groups of projects, and then choosing to implement some set of them so that the objectives of the parent organization will be achieved. Since projects in general require a substantial investment in terms of money and resources, both of which are limited, it is of vital importance that the projects that an organization selects provide good returns on their sources and capital invested. The selection process is often completed before a project manager is appointed to the project. These are several conditions to consider in a project selection process. In the proper way, the project will select using a model either numeric or non-numeric. Numeric is a model that uses numbers for evaluation such as payback period, return of investment, ROI, scoring method, etc. While non-numeric models do not use numbers for evaluation. Both methods are widely used. Many organizations use both models at the same time, or they use models that are combinations of the two. All models, however sophisticated, are only partial representations of the reality are meant to reflect. Their limitations should be appreciated as they are only predictions of what could happen and as accurate as the data they are based on. So, these are 6 important criteria in selecting a model. It must be flexible, easy to use, low cost, easy computerization, high capability, and realism with project manager decision. Numeric models, also known as scoring models, which means attempt to overcome some of the disadvantages of financial profitability methods by incorporating additional decision criteria. 2 broad categories of scoring models are the first, unweighted factor model, and second is weighted factor model. Let's look into the example for each numerical model. First, we have the unweighted, 0-1 factor model. This model uses a set of relevant factors as determined by management. Each factor is weighted the same, either 0 or 1. It is easy to compute because we just total or average the scores, but the major disadvantage is that the model assumes that all factors are equally important. Second, we have the unweighted factor model. And then, we also have the weighted factor model, which is each criterion weighted according to its perceived importance relative to the other criteria. Against each criterion, the project is given a score within a range of 5 or 10 equals very good, down to 1 equals very poor, to reflect how it meets the criterion. Weight score for each criterion equals weighting X score. Then for the non-numeric models, there are 5 categories to be chosen, including sacred cow, operating necessity, competitive necessity, product line extension, and comparative benefit. Okay, that is all for Chapter 1, Introduction to Project Management. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to try the activity and assessment.